Said he doesn't have cable. As somebody who's maybe a little more plugged in, does that surprise you when you hear a teammate is that and he's off social media unless he's getting paid to post or posting about his book?
No, it doesn't surprise me. I'm actually thinking about transitioning to no cable as well. Everything in today, you could just get on whatever, YouTube TV, Hulu, Plus. I'm shouting y'all out, I mean? You guys can give me a little something. No, I'm joking. But, yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. A lot of people actually that I've talked to don't even really run cable all that much.
Well, I guess I think he's making it sound like he doesn't watch much TV, not that it's internet versus cable. Just being that checked out and just dialed in.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me either. I know a lot of guys operate like that, especially during the year. You turn on the TV and then, everything local is all about, sports and obviously Broncos football. And then, you watch regular TV. Now, obviously, there are guys that'll be watching, like the World Series and the playoffs and things like that, or they'll go to games. But no, that doesn't surprise me all that much. I guess, more time to hang out with family. You're not really locked in that much on social media and all that stuff. So.
Vic said on Monday and also today the secondary as a whole has to play with better technique.
Mm-hmm.
If that's true, how do you do that this week? And does there need to be a greater focus on that?
Yeah, for sure. And practice is all about fundamentals. Sometimes you get so caught up in the X's and O's and schematics and what's working, what's not working that you don't even go back to the fundamentals of the game and what got you to this point. And so. In terms of fixing that and playing better in the secondary, it's going to be fundamentals and technique. Those are things that we're really going to have to harp on this week to get back to doing what we do.
Derek Carr's played pretty well historically against you guys. What do you think some keys are to just kind of getting him from settling into a rhythm, keeping him from settling in?
Yeah, there's a bunch of keys. Obviously, playing in the secondary would be playing better in the secondary would be the first one, but. Rattling him when he's in the pocket, giving him, different looks. The things that we talk about that we do, we need to do them just a little bit better, this week. And like I said, starting with the secondary is going to be our play, being able to cover their skilled guys, and they have a lot of them. And then our rush getting after them, so rush and coverage working together.
Justin, you kind of have one of those voices off the field and off the field issues, and when you see the emails from Gruden and are there conversations with you and teammates that I know we're all debating it in the media about these could be the way some people that are in high-level decision-making spots think within the NFL? What are your thoughts on that, or do you guys discuss it?
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely talk about it. It's, it could be concerning at times, because you just don't know, people's intentions and people's thoughts and their motives and, their heart posture. And I won't speak on, Gruden because I don't really know him all that well. I know Aqib really well, and Aqib says, it doesn't really sound like the guy that I know that drafted me in Tampa, things like that. But, guys in the locker room talk about that stuff, man. And I think that's why it's important. We've been talking about, or at least really putting a spotlight on it in the past few years about, especially at NFL, that we have the logos on the back of the helmets and in the back of the end zones, and I think that's why it's important to have different cultures in those positions, right? Because you're not getting it all from one set of any type of person, and so obviously qualified, right? You got to be qualified to be able to be in those positions, but. I think that's why it's important. You get different backgrounds, you get different opinions, and you get different things flowing in that aspect. So, yeah, guys talk about it.
Do you think progress has been made in the NFL workplace culture?
Yeah, I think progress has been made. Would I say whether it's good enough or not good enough? I won't go into details about that. I'm a firm believer that. As long as we're taking steps in the right direction, that has to be positive, right? I'm not going to be nitpicky about saying, well, no, that's not enough. Now, being stagnant, is different. Just doing the bare minimum is different. I think taking steps forward and continuously having those conversations and those tough conversations and things like that is, something that we just have to continue to do. As kind of like one umbrella, one family.
Came up earlier with Teddy, but in far as kind of social media, he was talking about how sometimes the mentions after the game can cause problems. Have you ever been a guy that checked your mentions right after a game?
When I was in college, and then I quickly knew that wasn't the route to go, to check your mentions. This is no disrespect, everyone gets frustrated with a loss and everyone thinks they know football, but you can't pay attention to that stuff. I mean, people at home watching football telling you, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this bad because a commentator is saying so on TV, and no one knows the X's and O's in the room. No one knows what's going on behind the scenes. No one knows the call that was in, the huddle, both offensively, defensively. And so you can't listen to them because, like I said, no disrespect to fans at home, but they don't know what they're talking about 9 times out of 10. And you just gotta be able to, tune that stuff out. And so, for me, I don't pay attention to any of it because, good or bad, you can get caught up in the good and, you start, whatever the saying is, you feel yourself and you get into the bad, and then you just got to be, dead in the middle and focus on, what you're doing. And, that's the biggest thing.
Justin, what sort of problem is Darren Waller for them, and is it unique in how much they'll go to him? There's times when, I think a few weeks ago, he had 18, 20 targets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's a problem for any defense. No matter how you want to come at it schematically. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to winning your one-on-one against him when you have that. And they have problems all across the board, which obviously helps. You can't just key into one guy, right? Renfro in the slot. Running the routes that he does, and then Ruggs being able to, stretch the defense vertically, and then obviously Jacobs running the football really well. They put you in some binds, and so with Waller, it's one of those guys, man. You just got to be locked in, and when your opportunity comes in a one-on-one, you got to be able to win it. Whether that's a safety, a corner, they line them up a lot of the times as like an X receiver, a one-on-one matchup, and 9 times out of 10, corner, whoever it is, they like that matchup, and. So it's definitely a challenge, and what a week for us in the secondary to be able to, stand up to that challenge, because obviously the past few games have been what they've been, and so looking forward to that.
With a new coach, and specifically, probably most relevant, new play caller and how much does that kind of change what you look at in terms of the film? Do you really have to kind of expect the unexpected?
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, I don't think they'll change much in what they do. Obviously, in terms of how the game's being called and the flow of the game, it may change a little bit, right? Because Gruden was their play caller. But, that's just something that you get a feel for throughout the week. And you'll prepare for, we're going to prepare for, as much as we can and without, I guess, like over-preparing for what might happen and it might not. So, those are the things that, we'll work on and we'll talk about throughout the week. And then, obviously, like any game, when it comes down to it in the game, if there's things that they're doing that you haven't seen, you go into halftime, you adjust, or you come to the sideline, you adjust. And that's part of the game. Part of being, a really good team is being able to adjust throughout the game. And so we got to be able to do that.
Justin, with your wife due any day or any week now, do you have plans in place, especially with the Thursday game? Have you allowed yourself to think about it? Or you hope baby's going to come in between games?
Yeah, no, we've been praying like crazy that the Lord will bless us with an opportunity to where I won't have to miss, and then obviously I won't miss. I won't have to miss a game, and then obviously I won't have to miss being there, for my wife, which could be. You all know, crazy time. So, we've been praying like crazy. Right now, we're supposed to be induced. I say we, like I'm going through it, but, we're supposed to be induced on the 23rd, which would be, the Saturday after the Thursday night game. So, praying heavily for that I won't have to miss, any games or anything like that. So,
unrelated to that, do you guys feel like you have personnel that can cover Waller differently than some other teams might be in that challenge? That sometimes teams are like, oh, this is probably our guy that could do that. Do you feel like you have different guys that could fill that role and that might be, helping in coverage of him?
Yeah, no, I really do. I think we have just like a multitude of guys in the back end, and that's not saying, how do I put it? Not in a cocky way, saying like, oh, we can, this guy can easily, one-on-one, but saying like, hey, we got some guys that we feel comfortable that, if it needs and it comes down to it, we got to get this stop. We can come at it with different looks. Line guys up in different places and be able to, like our chances to be able to win that down. And so that's something that, we were raving about before the season even started, with guys like Pat and Kyle and Darb and, Bryce being able to play the nickel and, they line him up in the slot sometimes. And so, yeah, man, we're excited. We obviously have our, work cut out for us with a great offense like that, but, what a challenge for us defensively. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.